Dear Education and Cultural Attaché, Professor Dr. Ardi Marwan, dear David Heitmann, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests. Good afternoon to those watching from Europe. Good evening to our spectators in Asia. Hello to everybody elsewhere, and welcome to the Zoom world of the Indonesian Embassy and the House of Indonesian Cultures in Berlin. Welcome to our first event in 2021, the 117th Scientific Lecture Sarasehan, entitled Plastic to Bricks, Building the Largest Recycling Village Worldwide. David Heitmann is a young civil engineer who graduated from the University of Münster in Germany. The topic of his bachelor and also of his master thesis is the topic of our event today. Together with the team of the non-profit oriented Project Wings company and his partners in Indonesia, he developed the technology called EcoBricks that he's going to introduce to us today. In 2020, David stayed in Indonesia for half a year in order to supervise the construction of a building he has designed by himself. In his lecture today, David will introduce to us the holistic idea behind Project Wings and the production method which is used to build the largest recycling village worldwide. David, thank you for being with us today. Welcome to our lecture, and the floor is yours.
Thank you a lot, Mrs. Stefan. So I will share my screen now. Okay, and we can start. So hello to everybody, and I'm really glad that you're all here and interested in our project called Project Wings. I also feel honored that Mrs. Stefan asked us to present our project, for which I've spent so much time and energy during the last 1.5 years, and which became a big part of my mission in life, actually. So the headline for today's presentation is Plastic to Bricks, Building the Largest Recycling Village Worldwide. So that is our mission, and we are also realizing it while including conservation, animal protection, and humanitarian aid. But let us start with the people behind the project first. So there are Basti, Mark, Leonie, and Eric. And if you're German, you've probably already seen some of their faces on television or in the newspaper. And those are the 4 founders. And their background is different, but what they all have in common is that they worked as fundraisers for the biggest NGOs worldwide, such as Greenpeace, WWF, or Plan International. And their strive for doing good developed into a strive for doing better. And that's why they have founded Project Wings in March 2019. So those 3 of them basically spent the first half year after the foundation doing face-to-face fundraising in the pedestrian zones in German cities. That means talking about their vision and finding supporters who want to help realizing their big dream of doing better. And Basti, that's the guy here in the left upper corner with a puppy in his hands. He was in Indonesia and found all the local supporters needed. Then Laura encountered Project Wings also in the pedestrian zone. And half a year later, she made a voluntary internship. And now she's the first German full-time employee. Yeah, and this laughing fella in the corner, that's me, David. And I have encountered Project Wings through a radio article, actually. That was in August 2019. And 2 weeks later, I was already part of the team and started writing my bachelor thesis for Project Wings. And I finished that in January last year. And I immediately flew to Indonesia and spent half a year there, realizing my theoretical work in practice. And this brings us to Team Indonesia. So during the last 2 years, our Indonesian team grew bigger and bigger, and now we already have more than 20 permanent employees there. And it all started with Haryanto in Ginting. He became friends with Basti in 2018, and they soon made plans to build a single hostel from EcoBricks. And those EcoBricks, I will explain later what exactly they are. They were already produced by a few locals, and Masno, that's our educational work manager, he was the pioneer who taught them how to make them. And one of those locals, for example, was Rosita. Rosita became an expert in producing eco-bricks, and she's now our local eco-brick manager. Then there is Zaba, and Zaba has a background in conservation, NGOs, and also constructing, and hence he became our perfect project manager. Then there's Anjala, and Anjala manages the newly built trash bank and the whole garbage disposal system. And Erna, that is our soul. She's a sustainable farming expert. She manages our compost production and is, among other things, responsible for our tree adoptions. Yes, so where did we meet all those great people? Where do we operate? And that's in Bukit Lawang. So for all the Indonesian listeners among us, Bukit Lawang might ring a bell. It is a relatively small village in Sumatra, but on the same hand, a really famous tourist spot. And the main reason for that is the Gunung Leuser National Park and its orangutans. You know, if you know the Gunung Leuser National Park, it's the only spot on Earth where elephants, tigers, rhinos, and orangutans still live together among thousands of other species. And this also brings us to the problems. So most of those species are seriously endangered with extinction. It's assumed that only a couple thousand of orangutans, a couple hundreds of tigers, and only a couple dozen of forest elephants and rhinos still live in the jungle. And this decimation of the once rich population has a main factor, and that is the rainforest destruction. So primary for palm oil production, area of 3,000 soccer fields is cleared every day in Indonesia. That's 3,000 soccer fields every day. And that's neither good for the biodiversity nor for climate in general. And one other huge problem is the plastic waste. This is, by the way, a photo which we took in Bukit Lawang, and you can see a cow standing there in some kind of mountain of plastic waste. And the reason is that Germany alone sends, for example, yearly an amount of 67,000 tons of plastic waste to Indonesia. So that's the weight of approximately 20,000 elephants. And Germany is only one of among 21 other states with plastic export to Indonesia. So on top of that, Indonesia itself is the world's second biggest plastic producer. And on the same hand, it has an insufficient recycling system. So our solution is this one. That's the eco-brick. I also have an eco-brick here. So I have to drink a little bit of water. Yeah, and now I will show you the way from plastic waste to the largest recycling village worldwide. And one of the first of Basti's action in Indonesia was to establish an eco-brick deposit system. The first step is to collect plastic waste. Here, that smiling guy on the picture, that's Dedi, that's our all-around talent. And he helps collecting plastic waste during the weekly cleanups we organized there. So collecting plastic waste, step number one. Step number two is to clean this plastic waste and to dry it. And here you can see our eco-brick manager, Rosita, on the picture. And yeah, she hangs the clean plastic bags on the line to dry. Then step number three is to cut the plastic waste into small pieces and compress it into a bottle, into a clean bottle, of course. So on that picture, there are two girls from Masno's green class, and they get taught how to produce eco-bricks. And as I said, in the green class, Masno teaches children and adolescents their impact on the environment. He was the first person in Bukit Lawang who taught how to make the eco-bricks. And then the people receive 5,000 Indonesian rupiah from us per proper eco-brick. And what does proper eco-brick mean? Proper means that the eco-brick has to be clean, dry, undamaged, and has a weight of at least 500 grams. So that are the conditions we need to use them as a construction brick. And there also Rosita comes into play again, because she's responsible for the checking. And if an eco-brick doesn't fulfill the conditions, Rosita teaches the people how to improve the eco-brick producing skills. So in the end, those 5,000 rupiah are for half a kilo of plastic waste. And this plastic waste would have otherwise landed in the river, in the environment, or would have been openly burned. And yeah, for those who don't know, 5,000 Indonesian rupiah are about 30 euro cents. And this is our status quo. So we've bought more than 73,000 eco-bricks so far from locals. In other words, it's more than 30 tons of plastic waste. And even more important, those 73,000 eco-bricks enable dozens of families to gain a side income by cleaning their environment. So especially in times of COVID-19, is that an absolutely beneficial factor, as more than half of the population in Bukit Lawang is dependent on tourism as a source of income. So now the plastic waste became a proper building brick. But how do we build with them? And that is where my expertise comes into play. As Mrs. Stefan already told, I'm a civil engineer. And before I joined Project Wings, a few houses and walls were already built from eco bricks, and they were built with eco bricks and cement mortar. But this, honestly, is not the most sustainable way for various reasons. And now we build as follows. So imagine we have a shell construction as in the photo here in the background, and the whole framework there is from bamboo. Then the first step is to produce clay mortar. No cement, clay. I have a small video from Bukit Lawang where Anjala and Jerry are producing that clay mortar.
What exactly are you doing?
We mix the clay with we call in bahasa sekap.
I always have to smile when I watch this video. So the components for proper clay are natural clay, are rice husks, cow dung, and water. So that's it, all organic and natural. Then the second step is to lay the eco bricks with the clay mortar layer by layer. I will also show you a short video how I make it. And as you can see here, I really press those eco bricks inside the clay. So the eco bricks are fully surrounded by clay. And you can also see that I put them on each other in some kind of diagonal formation. So that is just because it permits a more equal load transfer. Then step number 3 is to protect the eco bricks with bamboo bars. And step 4 is to add a clay plaster layer around the whole construction. So that way to build is a consequence from my theoretical work in my bachelor thesis. And I also want to explain again why it is so sustainable. So first, we build with clay instead of cement and that's for 2 main reasons. Reason number 1 is that we have 0 greenhouse gas emissions during the production. I mean, at least as long as we mix the clay with our bare feet or hands. And reason number 2 is that it allows us to deconstruct the wall without any harm for the eco bricks. And that reason for me is even more important because imagine like after 50 years, the building must be broken down because, I don't know, the bamboo framework is not stable enough, for example. And if we had cement eco brick walls, we would need to break down the whole walls. And the compound between the cement and the eco bricks, they would make it impossible to break down the wall without damaging the eco bricks. But if we use clay, as we do, we can easily deconstruct the wall. We can then use the clay mortar as compost or make new mortar out of it, or simply reuse the eco bricks. And it's easier than that. Then the diagonal eco brick layer formation and the bamboo bar protection are mainly for safety reasons. And why we use the clay plaster around the eco-brick construction also has an ecological reason. So imagine the eco-bricks would look out of the wall. So that would have a nice design aspect, but they are always exposed to external influences such as sunshine or rain. And the consequences are degradation, microplastic, and a fragile wall. But with the clay layer around the eco-bricks, they are fully covered. Hence, they are fully protected. Hence, the wall is way more durable and they don't have a negative impact on the environment. So this bamboo house in the background was actually the shell construction for the Green Education Center. And that's the first building on the Recycling Village property. I took this picture last year in June. And afterwards, we've built the eco-brick clay walls as explained. So the Green Education Center is based on that planning here. And as you can see, it's quite similar. Yeah, after finishing the clay walls, it looked like in this video here, I'll show you. Okay, so that was a nice little video which we took after we finished the walls. There weren't the windows and doors inside already. But yeah, as I said, the Green Education Center became the first building in the recycling village, and we managed to integrate about 10,000 eco-bricks inside its walls, which means 5 tons of plastic waste. And I'm also really proud that it's already in use. So for example, we use it for Masnos Green class, we use it for team meetings, we use it for eco-brick workshops, or for English classes for our Indonesian employees. And soon we want to buy laptops and give whole schools the chance to use it as a computer room. And as the village, as the village shall become the largest recycling village worldwide, we planned many other buildings as well. So in total, the property contains about 3 hectares of land. And the planning here on the left is from April last year. And as you can imagine, a lot has changed and progressed within those last 10 months. So for example, we worked together with a university for architecture in Koblenz and developed some amazing designs for our follow-up buildings. And I want to show you a few examples. So this is our favorite design for the recycling marketplace, or which is here called Sustainable Bazaar. And as located in the center, it will become the heart of our recycling village. We want to organize a market at least twice a week there, on which sustainable or upcycled handcrafts will be offered, on which we sell fruits from our permaculture gardens, organic cosmetics such as soap or lemongrass, and many, many more things. And when there's no market in this building, the rooms can be used for yoga classes, for meditation classes, for pottery classes, etc. And as you can see, the building has a really high viewing point platform from which you can reach through the stairs, and it offers an amazing view over the whole recycling village. And yeah, beside our usual regenerative main materials, bamboo, palm leaves, wood, and clay, the wall constructions will fit around 40,000 eco-bricks. And this also means, again, 20 tons of recycled plastic. The next building, this here is the co-working space, and that didn't exist on the original planning yet. And the start of the construction is actually within the next 2 weeks. So it's also built almost only from bamboo, from wood, from palm leaves, and eco-brick clay walls. And it's designed to serve as a creative place for co-working. This here is a really, really cool design too. So it will most likely become our restaurant, the culture kitchen, or the breath bar, which is the name here. And you can see already see a difference from this design to that design. And yeah, it has outside and inside area, provides space for around 100 guests. And all the meals there will be cooked with fruits and vegetables from our permaculture garden. And regarding that permaculture garden, we have already planted hundreds of fruit trees and have vegetable beds all around the recycling village. So it's not monoculture, but permaculture, which means different sorts of plants all together which support each other naturally. And this year, for example, we've already harvested chilies, long beans, peanuts, telang flowers, and many, many more things. Okay, so this is also a really nice design that might become our chill out area here. And for this design, Mark just had a quite new idea, and what I think is a really, really good idea. And that is a Rainforest Museum. This will also help us to raise the awareness for all those endangered species and yeah, actually the world's second important rainforest. And as you can see, like this is the recycling village in the background. You can see the rainforest from there. And as far as I know, it would be the first rainforest museum in Bukit Lawang. And it would also help to gain more income for the employees' salaries and for the maintenance of the whole area. So then we have our toilet house. It used to be the Sibamit toilet house. They were the plant sponsor, but now they have been replaced by Ben and Anna. That's a young startup. And they also produce sustainable cosmetic products. And yeah, this also will be built within the next 2 weeks. So the construction start. So we have 2 buildings starting within the next month, which is really great. Especially I don't know, we will create about 20 jobs with those constructions. And this is the last design. And it used to be the green soccer field, as you see here. But then the green soccer field became the green sports court. And yeah, now the design and the concept is for the most sustainable sports court worldwide, which already gained media interest. And that's because we have former German national keeper René Adler as our patron and also supporter. And the website FIFA.com already reported about the sports court. It will contain a multifunctional court, then a soccer cage, yeah, and the stand for spectators. And around 60,000 eco-bricks are planned. This gave you a rough overview over all the planned buildings in the recycling village. And what you already figured out is that it won't just become a place for people to sleep and live. So the recycling village will become a place for education, a place for joy, but also a place which can generate income. And that's because it's needed to leave behind a self-sustaining system. The village will create dozens of jobs. The visitors will learn about their environment, about sustainability, about plastic, about the rainforest. They can do sports, can do yoga, and many, many more things. So in the end, we want to create a positive impact on thousands of people. And we hope to finish all the constructions within the next 2 years. Beside the recycling village, we also have interrelated projects, and they're all connected to conservation, to development help, and to animal protection. As an example, we have already planted more than 20,000 trees. We have a ranger patrol to protect the wildlife, and we are building a small rescue center for cats and dogs. I don't want to go too much into detail for those projects, but you can find all the information on our website, or even better on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, but nevertheless, there's one other project I want to highlight. And this is the Sumaterra trash bank and garbage disposal system. Why I want to highlight it's because it has a major impact on the infrastructure and the whole area in and around Bukit Lawang. So what we did in the first place was to finance the whole construction for the Sumaterra trash bank. That is the building here, which you can see in the background. And also helped Erna to finance her compost house. On top of that, we have bought more than 400 garbage cans, and we have located them all around in Bukit Lawang. So now the people, the local citizens, they finally put their biodegradable waste in one bin and the non-biodegradable waste in another bin, instead of burning all together on a big stack, what they usually did. So now we pick up the waste, it's twice a week, we pick up the organic waste, and that goes to Erna and her compost house, and the non-organic waste goes to Anjala and his trash bank. So Erna, she now makes compost from the waste of hundreds of households, and we, on the other hand, can use that compost for our permaculture gardens. And then Anjala separates and cleans the plastic, the paper, the glass, the metal, and then he can sell those material to bigger recycling companies, or he can produce eco bricks out of it. And the income from the recycling companies is used to pay the workers and maintain the trash bank, on the other hand. So, in conclusion, we finally integrated a proper recycling system in a village which thousands of tourists visited every year for the last 2 decades, who produced tons and tons of plastic and other waste. And in my opinion, this is a giant step into the right direction and a perfect example of beneficial development help. All right, so the next page shows you an overview of our supporters. We have 47 cooperation partners like Lush, Germany, and those are companies which have the same values and which, for example, support us financially and which we support with media presence. Then we have volunteers, and usually, now not during that time, but there are usually a lot of tourists, also volunteers volunteering. And therefore, for example, we have a volunteer camp and a really, really great volunteer program. And you can also find a nice video, I don't know, it's like 10 minutes, 8 minutes for our voluntary program where you can see everything you can do there. And that's on our website and Instagram, or you can also find it on YouTube. And then most importantly, we have hundreds of private supporters, and they want to help us realizing our goals with their donations. Yeah, as you can imagine, this project has gained quite a lot of media attention, and it has already been in dozens of newspapers and several TV shows, in the radio. And this, by the way, is also a really, really important part of our whole mission, because we want to be a role model for other NGOs and also for private people. And we want to raise awareness for what we do and why we do it. So now I want to end this presentation with thanking you all for your genuine interest. And I really appreciate that you have spent your free time now to learn a little bit about our mission. And I hope that you keep this interest and keep following our path. So you can always have a look on Facebook, on Instagram, or on our website. I will post the links later in the chat. Yes, thank you a lot. The chat is now open for any questions.
Okay, thanks a lot, David, for your interesting presentation. I think before we go on to the question and answer session, I would very warmly welcome our ambassador, His Excellency Arif Hafaz Ukroseno. Selamat sore, Bapak. In the meantime, you joined us.
Selamat sore, Bu Birgit.
So I think, unfortunately, you missed the first part of the presentation where David explained how the eco bricks are made and how they put it into the clay walls. But anyway, so what is your opinion about this project?
Well, first of all, let me thank you, Pa David, for his brilliant project. So just by the way, to give you the context. So before I came here, I was deputy of the coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs, and dealing with plastic waste was our priority because it has impact with the environment and impact with tourism as well. And under our team, we developed national plan of actions in fighting marine plastic debris or plastic debris. We have brought this at the scale of the region as well as at the East Asia Summit, which is including the United States. And we work with the World Bank on different projects, and we have came up with a profiling of cities where they have problems with debris, with waste collection and waste management. And we have, I think in the World Bank report, we had cities like Medan and Pontianak, Jakarta, Surabaya, Semarang, Makassar, Bali, and also in Lombok as well. That is as far as I remember the data. We have seen the facts that the marine plastic debris are coming from inland as well as coming from the different parts of Asia. We've done a survey in one island, northern of the coast of Java, and based on our survey, 3 out of plastic bottles that came into our shore, they came from South Asia. And as you're probably well aware, there are 5 gyres. So gyre is like circlings of floating giant plastic islands. There are 5 gyres across the world. You have in the Atlantic, you have in the southern part of Atlantic, you have in the Indian Ocean, you have in the Pacific as well. So these gyres, there are 2 big gyres, which is in the Indian Ocean and also in the Pacific. And on top of that, you have what we call the archipelagic, what do you call it? Hang on a second. It's a flow of undercurrents, okay, at the global level, and this flow undercurrent, they flow from the Pacific to the Atlantic, and it's called the flow through current, and it goes through Indonesian islands. So this flow through current brought plastic waste from the Pacific and also from Indian Ocean. So we are basically receiving attacks, if you will, of plastic debris from the sea and also from the land. Now, we have done a number of projects ourselves by the central government, and we have raised some funding domestically. We have raised funding from the World Bank, and we have some successful programs in the cleaning up of the Citarum River, for instance, and Citarum River is very, very clean now. And we also invite foreign investment. There is a German company based in München. It's called Systemic.
system.
I met this outfit in Davos, and they have a project currently ongoing, and you can look at. It's called the STOP, STOP, STOP project in Muncar in Banyuwangi. So they put in 4 to 5 million euros, and the money is being used to increase the collection capacity as well as the recycling capacity. And the return is not much, 4 to 5% per year, but angel investors are moving in, and this is a very good, what do you call it? This is a very good example. Now, it's nice part of it to have this project as a pilot project, and it's being in the news and stuff, as you mentioned. But I'm not the kind of person who is stuck in the pilot project. Okay, if you really want to do a real impact, then you have to go into a different sites across the country. Okay, so I can offer you, if you would like to, we can have a workshop with the colleague of mine in the coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs, who is dealing with issue of marine plastic debris or plastic debris. And, you know, we invite local government who have been fighting with this particular issue. We can invite the local government of Kuta, Bali, on the province of Bali, and then different provinces. And now we have big problem with Bengawan Solo. So we can brought in the local government as well, so they can look at the project with you. And if there are some investment needed, we can also bring in some investor in the discussions, so that it will be replicated in a most meaningful way and in the most impactful way. Okay, so I mean, and that's the way to do it. That's the way that we are looking at it. We have 2.3 billion euro coming from KfW Bank for green infrastructure projects. So probably this fund, we can draw it maybe with some projects we can organize with Bapenas, maybe some grants or any type of funding. You know, it's possible to do this. So if you know, my point is always that you need to have some really concrete follow-up and the most impactful way. So that's my take part of it. And if you are up to the challenge, then you know we can follow up. All right.
Thank you a lot for the offer, and I will of course kindly accept it. And of course, we are also up for the challenge. Yeah, thank you a lot.
Very good. So then, Bu Birgit, maybe we can set up some discussion further. Remind Pak Devdi to discuss with me maybe tomorrow. So then I will call Jakarta, so we'll organize a workshop quickly. You know, quickly, like in next week if possible. So
all right.
Otherwise, we forget about it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you.
Have a great chat. Ibu Birgit. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador. That's a very promising perspective, David, I think. A good result of our meeting, even if we haven't started the discussion with our audience yet. Thank you so much, Bapak.
Sama, Ibu.
Actually, there are already the first questions coming in from Maria. She asks, how can the bricks be reused after 50 years of exploitation? Are any preparation measures necessary, or can they be directly used in further construction projects?
I'm not really sure what is exactly meant with exploitation in that context.
Maybe Maria can further explain.
When she means, because like they they're not exposed. Let us start, like when we have the eco bricks inside our buildings, inside the walls, they're not exposed to any influences like sun, like rain. So they're fully protected, and hence we can just deconstruct the wall as we use clay, and then it's easy to deconstruct. And then we can just reuse those eco bricks because they didn't have any degradation in the meantime. I don't know if that answered your question.
Maria, can you give us a sign if it answered your question? Maybe while waiting, there's already the next question coming in from Lydia Kiefen. She says, thank you very much. Once the village is completely constructed, what will happen with other plastic waste? Will the village develop more ideas for making use of recycled plastics and in this way act as a motor for future programs of other organizations and partners? I guess there is the idea that villages in the region and in other regions in Indonesia will adopt the eco-brick constructions for building new houses.
Yes, definitely. We want to be a role model, and also we want to build the village in a self-sustaining way. So it's economically independent. And as I said, it's a place for education. So the people who visit the village will see it, will think, okay, it's a great idea, and we can do it also in our places. And that's where, like, after the village is constructed, it's done, we have the chance to go somewhere else, for example, and also make other villages like that in other places in the world, maybe in South America, for example. So I hope that answered your question.
Lydia, can you give us a sign? Oh, well, okay. Maria said her answer is, her question is answered.
Also,
So...
I think even the question from, who was it, Lydia? Included some nice ideas, because like we have really a lot of creative employees in Indonesia, and they always are full of ideas. Especially they are so creative, and we will find so many ways to use the plastic. I mean, we do upcycling in so many different ways as well. Like it's not only the eco brick, we make like really nice upcycling bags out of it, handcrafts and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we will find a lot of ways. And now we also have the trash bank, as I showed you.
Maybe I also have a question. How did you convince the local people that to realize or to assist you in realizing this huge project? Was it easy? Was it difficult?
Basti, so our German local project manager, he did an amazing job. He talked to almost everyone in the whole village, and he found supporters. He found people with the same mentality, like Zaba, like Anto, like Erna, like Rosita, and they helped us to talk to other people. So it's basically word of mouth, and we are all working together, talking to each other, doing a lot of socialization. So, for example, now as we have the little service, the waste disposal system, before we had to talk to everyone in the village. Okay, please now use the bins, because otherwise they would have just stand there and wouldn't have been used. And that's the way we do it. Just talk to the people, talk about our mission, why we do it, explain everything, being patient sometimes, but then it works out.
Okay, another question from Sarah Mayo. Do you plan to rebuild the buildings after 50 years, or would you simply re-render and repair them as needed?
I mean, we're not sure yet. Like, it's 50 years from now, we cannot tell. It might also be the case that in 50 years, the recycling system is at a way, way better state than now, and we can now get all the energy from plastic if we just put it in some magical machine. I don't know yet. So, but I'm sure that we can also reuse the eco bricks if necessary, and that's, I think, is the most important point. Yeah.
Lydia says or gives a comment. Thank you. Do you know the PPLH in Travas? There might be some possible cooperation.
Yes. PPLH, I think it's from Regina. She's the founder. And she also built the Eco Lodge in Bukit Lawang. And we know them and we are in contact and in some parts working together as well.
Are you done with your answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for the tip because, yeah.
Katrin Figge asks, has the pandemic slowed you down? Did it affect your time frame at all?
It affected our time frame, yes, but it also gave us a chance, and that is to produce income for the locals and help them in an effective way, because I think I already told before, more than half of the population there is dependent on tourism as income. And that's why we have shifted our focus a little bit. So we wanted to give them the chance to earn money. And that's why we shifted our focus a little bit more to permaculture, a little bit more, to sustainable farming, to tree planting. So that are things that everyone can do. And that gave them the possibility to gain income. But on the other side, it also slowed down the process of the recycling village itself a little bit.
Okay. Going back to the bricks, another question from Maria. What is the temperature range that the bricks can endure? Are they only suitable for warm climate, or can they be used in cold climate as well?
They definitely can be used in cold climate as well. I think it's probably even more useful in some ways because plastic isolates the heat. So it stores the heat inside the buildings. It's like, isolation systems in walls. But then there are a lot of countries in cold climate, just as in Europe, where we have regulations for constructing material, building material, which makes it hard to use eco bricks, for example, here in Europe.
Okay. So far, we don't have any open questions, but I would ask another question concerning to money. If I understood you right, at the moment, you are still spending money to finance the program, for example,
Yes.
the waste bank and so on. Do you have any concrete plans that the whole project might finance itself in the future? And how is that going to function?
Yeah, we definitely hope so, and shall function with the income from the recycling village, because we earn income from entrances, we earn income from yoga classes, income from the restaurant. Then we have our permaculture garden. We can sell the fruits, we can sell food in the restaurant, and in the end, we want to leave that as a self-sustaining place, as a self-sustaining program, and move further, maybe to another country or to another city.
I once read that you plan to have a recycling village on every continent in the future, right? Is that right?
That's a cool idea. Maybe we can do it. As I said, like in Europe, it's going to be harder, but maybe that's our last continent, and then we can do it there as well. Maybe.
Okay, two more questions. Lydia again, another more common question. Why does Indonesia Why does Indonesia throw large amounts of plastics from Germany to the sea?
So for you to understand it correctly, Germany exports plastic to Indonesia, and Indonesia imports it because they get an income. But that's like not a sustainable way, so they're completely overwhelmed by the mass of plastic. And they don't have a sufficient recycling system in a lot of places. And yeah, also probably in some places they don't have the education that it's not good to burn the plastic for your health and for a lot of things. And that's basically the reason. And I'm sure that it won't be like that like in the next 10 years. If you see China, for example, imported plastic from all over the world, but now they stopped. And Indonesia also made regulation that they want to stop it.
Also, Malaysia is also suffering from this politics and already has sent containers back with plastic waste that was falsely declared from Germany, I think. Okay, Jacqueline Lutz has another question. Is the clay resistant to the huge amount of rain? How does the rain season affect the constructions?
Oh, that's a really good question. The clay is not resistant completely, but we make sure that it's not exposed to the rain and to the sun too much. And we can do it by big roof overhangs. Like if it has an overhang, for example, of 1.5 meters, the rain usually don't really come or influence the wall. So, and then of course we can still maintain the wall. So let's say, okay, the clay isn't in a good condition after 2 years, we can just put another clay plaster on top of it. And
there's another question from Lydia. I would suggest that Yadi, you put Lydia's, you unmute Lydia's microphone. Maybe she can directly discuss with David. If Yadi, are you there? Lydia, hi.
Yes, hello. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Thank you, Birgit.
hello, Lydia.
Hi, and hello, David. Sorry, it's difficult to write all my thoughts in short sentences. Yeah, it is something really beyond your specific topic. I never understand the system, the politics of that countries like Germany sell their plastics to a country like Indonesia, and Indonesia is actually supposed to recycle, but because of the masses it throws the plastic into the sea. So at the moment, since I know that, I don't put my plastics into the yellow garbage bin anymore.
That's a good way.
A while ago I decided I do not want to contribute to spoil the ocean.
Actually, if I may interrupt, I just read yesterday that this plastic garbage that is exported from Germany, only less than 2% of the garbage we separate in our households is actually exported. It's recycled. That garbage that is exported to other countries is mostly industrial plastic waste. That's what I read. Maybe
okay,
David is more into the topic.
I'm not sure. Like the last time I did a deep research on that topic was last year during my bachelor thesis, and but that's a good information if that's true.
I can send you the brochure. I read it in.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Any more questions? Now you know you can also directly communicate with our speaker. So if you would like to say something, just let us know and we can unmute your microphone if you still have any more questions. Any more questions or comments? So, well, oh, somebody wants to speak. Yadi? Lydia again?
Again, yes, sorry.
All good?
Sorry. I had just mentioned the PPLH in Travas, yeah? Recently, the Uli Furke, the architect who once constructed the PPLH, also was invited in a Sarasehan, yeah, which was very interesting. And just one remark, the founders of the PPLH were Uli Furke and Suryo Prawiro Atmojo Almarhum. And Gina, whom you mentioned, she has been involved in it. But the founder, okay. So just to give a short comment, the founder, because I know the whole story, I know Suryo, and he was really the founder. Yeah.
Okay.
Short note. Yeah, it's a long story. It's a long story. Maybe you were not born yet.
No, I think so. I actually wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from Juliana Gubernat. She asks, who is the owner of the area of the village?
That's Marwan Purba. You probably won't know him. Yeah, because it's impossible for foreigners to buy land in Indonesia, but we founded an Indonesian NGO as well, and he's also part of it, and yeah, he's also part of the project. So that's great, and he makes it possible to use the land for the permaculture as well and stuff like that. So we are really glad to have him on our side.
Is he charging anything for the renting of his land?
No, but he wants to contribute in the recycling village, and also wants to make good impact.
Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, I would say thank you so much, David, for this very interesting presentation of your project. And I'm very confident we will meet again in a few days with our ambassador to make more national plans and let us see what will happen to Project Wings in the near future in Indonesia. Thank you very much.